ऐसो चिर सुंदर मूर्ति मनोहर संतन अंतर माजे भक्त जीवन धन जनगण तरुण त्रिभुवन विमोह साजे ऐसो चिर सुंदर ऐसो मम कंदारी गौरिक त्रिशूलधारी भयहारी प्रणव बिहारी देवता वंचित दर्शन ओकुलित व्याकुलित कत नर नारी ऐसो चिर सुंदर मूर्ति मनोहर संतर अंतर माजे विपत भंजन देव निरंजन जन मरण जय स्वामी भक्त जीवन धन जनगण तरुण त्रिभुवन विमोह साजे ऐसो चिर सुंदर मूर्ति मनोहर संतन अंतर माजे ऐसो चिर सुंदर. Adorations to the Guru, filling my whole being with, filling our whole being with the thoughts of God manifesting Himself from consciousness. Devotees, welcome again this morning, and we could see the mother and father of those little geeslings. There's a possibility that in here there's a big turtle, and maybe one of those babies will be his food. But anyway, we know in life that in the animal kingdom, the lower being of animals, whether the water, air, or in the ground, they have to sustain a food chain. And when we see that food chain is maintained, we shouldn't feel sorry like if we miss one of these geeslings. Well, this morning, it's a very beautiful morning here. The sun came out, but there are some clouds. The illusion of the sun not here. But the wind is blowing beautifully, and I'm enjoying my walk this morning. After a beautiful session of yoga, asanas, and meditation, and lifting yourself to that place where you're the observer of all that was created, and meaning that you're formally established in that place of consciousness, and you look at everything that's happening because you're in it, you have a body, and the most important thing, you're using this body, mind, intellect, and ego for the welfare of the world. You know, the work of God's work, or being an instrument in His hands, is not for the weak, especially of the mind. It is for the strong. That's why when we have this physical strength and we have this mental power, divine power, omnipotent power, that divine power, when we have the all-pervading, omnipresent realization, omniscient, when through the Guru you see through his eyes, you see through his divine power, you walk through his divine power to serve society, to serve creation, and then you know the past, present, and the future. Well, you might think that is impossible, but that's the greatest sin, when we think that things are impossible for us, because we cannot explain. If you ask the question, you cannot explain what is a possibility for us. Are we in this waking state, in this illusionary waking state, or are we in a dream state that when we go to sleep we get dreams, and then the dreams during the time of the dream they're so real, but when you wake up from it you realize they're not real? Or are we in that deep sleep where there's no dreaming? No, these are all existences in the manifested universe and the lower nature of God. Yagyatat karmano anyatra lokoyam karma bandhana Taratam karma kaunti mukta sangha samachara. Hey Arjuna, you know you're gonna, it is your nature, through your true innate qualities. You know this laziness, overactiveness, and a goodness. Well, we call these things sattvic, rajasic, and tamasic, the Sanskrit word. When these things are in control of us, Arjun, they're in control of you. But break the bonds of those control. All right? Don't be lazy. And don't be overactive, because this is the source of all your sin. You know, Kama, Krodha, Esha, Krodha, Rajoguna, Samudbhava. That sloka, you know, that the Rajaguna, this Rajaguna is the source of all of your actions, excessive actions, going beyond dharma, that puts us all in trouble. That when we want to seek the pleasures of the world, when we want to accumulate, then we find ourselves in that state. Well, this morning we want to go beyond all of that, and thank the good Lord that here we're looking at the Lord Shiva bubbling up here, and we want to let Lord Shiva be our guide. Om Namah Shivaya, Namah Shivaya, Hara Hara Bole Namah Shivaya, Vishveshwarai Shiva Vishveshwarai, Hara Hara Bole Namah Shivaya, Namah Shivaya, Namah Shivaya, Hara Hara Bole Namah Shivaya, Jatadharai Shiva Jatadharai, Hara Hara Bole Namah Shivaya, Namah Shivaya, Namah Shivaya, Hara Hara Bole Namah Shivaya, Gangadharai Shiva Gangadharai, Hara Hara Bole Namah Shivaya, Gangadharai Shiva Gangadharai, Hara Hara Bole Namah Shivaya, Namah Shivaya, Namah Shivaya, Namah Shivaya, Namah Shivaya. Calling the name of Lord Shiva, Adi Deva, Lord Shiva, Swami Parameshananda, an incarnation of Lord Shiva, a manifestation of consciousness. Let us bring him in our presence. Let him flood our mind. There would be no room for anything, because we want to be consumed by that divine power. Om Guru Mata Pita Guru Bandhu Sakha, Tere charanon mein Guru mera koti pranam, Tere charanon mein Guru mera koti pranam. Tumi jnana data, Tumi shakti data, Tumi shanti data, Tumi mukti data, Tere charanon mein Guru mera koti pranam, Tere charanon mein Guru mera koti pranam. Tumi sadhana, Tumi aradhana, Tumi premarana, Tumi karuna, Tumi pranapati, Tumi raksha mera, Tere charanon mein Guru mera koti pranam, Tere charanon mein Guru mera koti pranam. Tumi vidata, Tumi param pita, Tumi raj dhiraj, Guru Maharaj, Tumi raj dhiraj, Guru Maharaj, Guru mata pita, Guru banduk sakha, Tere charanon mein Guru mera koti pranam, Tere charanon mein Guru Mera koti pranam. You know, to do the work of the Guru, you know, you have to totally surrender. And you have to gain the confidence of the masses of people, devotees. Why? Because if there is any feeling of misuse of money, as a Swamiji collected from devotees, any misuse of that money, you lose the trust and you will not be successful in the work of the SANGHA, BHARAT, SEVASHRAM, or any good you want to do. I can remember in Kolkata we were doing collection between Maghi Purnima and Siratri, and we were going in the streets of Kolkata collecting money. So I went into this building, 4 floors, and collecting, knocking on every door and telling them about the greatness of the ashram. They know, because ashram is so popular all over, especially in Kolkata, India. So when I collecting money and I went to the top floor, and there the lady gave 10 rupees. In America, that's a little over like 10 cents. And but you know, we give a receipt and everything. So when I came down, I was thirsty because we were collecting like 2 hours already. And I saw a gentleman selling water coconut. And I'm very careful of the water that I drink when I go to places. So I take out some money, all my money that was put in a different pocket, not from my collections. And I said, I like the water coconut. And just about when I was beginning to put the water coconut in the mouth, the Swamiji came and angry, and he pulled the water coconut from my hands. And he says, what are you doing? So I said, oh, I'm thirsty, Swamiji. I want to drink this water coconut. He says, look up there. What do you see? Who are you seeing there? Do you know that lady? I say, yes, Swamiji. She gave me some money, collection. So he's saying to me, what do you think that lady is going to think? That she give 10 rupees and you're going to take that 10 rupees and go buy a water coconut. And Swamiji asked, why couldn't you have asked the lady for some water? Do you think that she will understand, well, you want to drink water coconut and you're using your money? No. So the optics, the impression that you make when you're doing God's work, you have to be very careful. One time, Swami Parameshananda ji, when he just came to Calcutta and they have a place, first time the monks were going and collecting money coming from then East Bengal, from Bangladesh. So they go out and people won't give them money because the reputation is not there yet for Bharat SEVASHRAM. So 1 day, 2 day, they're collecting. In the meantime, they'll be eating dal and little rice, and then they cut the grass, and that's the bhaji that they will eat for the curry. So 2 days, 3 days, they're eating the same thing. And once Swamiji was thinking, oh, if our Guruji is God, why can't he use his powers to bring money into the ashram? And Swami Parameshananda no Antaryami, he's omniscient, he knows what they're thinking. And then he burst out and he says, oh, you want me to prostitute my power so that you get food? Isn't this your duty to go as sannyasin to go and beg for your money, for your food? And they stay quiet. And then he says, I'll give you the power, you go. And my power, go be diligent. Be an instrument in my hands, and you will be able to collect money. And lo and behold, this is how the ashram springboard. By he infusing energy into these Swamijis. We're doing a project in Guyana. We're refurbishing, rebuilding ashram because the buildings are all old. A new building was built. We'll be transferring the Hindu college into this new building. And you know, it's the same thing that is playing out like when Swami Purnanandaji would have created that ashram with the powers of Swami Parameshananda as 20 acres of swampland donated. And he built a little house, 4 posts, and when it's low, when the rain would fall, the water will be underneath the little house, and there he will be with the frogs, and even the snakes, they have to keep them out. So then that's how it's built, and the ashram, through his sacrifice, the ashram is coming now. Now devotees have an opportunity to serve, and we have to apply the same principle that when Swami Parameshananda would have been there, and he would have teach his monks, disciples, the same things, that we all have to serve society. Give up this desire for comfort. One of the greatest sins of sannyasins and brahmacharis of BHARAT SEVASHRAM is to want to live a comfort life. Then they would not get the grace of the Guru. They will be still anchored inside the mundane life. The whole purpose of sannyas life is to cut the past and live a new life. The other day I went to a mother. She served the ashram in New York here, and 1 year of her Shrad. And that Shrad, the Punditji was doing, is saying from now on this mother will be turned over to the gods and the goddesses, and the children should let her go freely. But you see the hankering about the children for the mother is keeping them back. And if the mother keeps thinking of what her life was and thinking of her children, then she will not break the bonds of mundane life. So our Hindu tradition is so powerful. We are all getting an opportunity to serve in the ashram. Let us serve selflessly. Let us imagine that when you do this, you'll be recasting the mold of your personality. And all the people who are serving in the steering committee, they have to come to that. And we have to make sure that every penny that is given to the ashram is spent in a wise way. Not to be overcharged by contractors, but to go through the exercise of choosing the best person to do the job without sacrificing personality and at the best price. Let them make some money, but let them not overdo it. So this is the duty of the ashram, the responsibility of a Swamiji. Through my experiences with great monks of the ashram, I totally understand this, and I carry that forward to everyone I come in contact with you. You set your example. People don't want to hear you talk, but you set an example, so this way others can see. Just like a parent, if you want to grow good children, you don't keep talking to them, but you set the example so they could follow. For this morning, let us all do some little nice chanting. Let us bring in Lord Krishna here. Oh Krishna, you're the one to clear the path for us through this. Our lives are in front of us. There's rough waters, and also let us learn that when we come to you with an open mind, a mind of surrender, that you will be granting everything to us like Sadama did. And then also, Krishna, you have given us this great book of the Bhagavad Gita, all-encompassing of everything we need to know. It is your words, and you were speaking to us then, and now you're speaking to us now. Om Krishna Murari Sudarshandari Murali bajao neti mi kahacho Murali bajao neti mi kahacho Madhyao ratma matra le tori Basdev ko nandana le tori Barsa ko bori charan le mori Jamuna jatao neti mi kahacho Jamuna jatao neti mi kahacho Bhakta Sudhama धरे आए एक मुट्ठी चावल साथ मलाए काचे प्रभुली काचो खो प्रेम से खाओ नेति में कहाचो कृष्ण मुरारी सुदर्शनधारी मुरली बजाओ नेति में कहाचो महाभारत में शास्त्र सुनाए संसार को आज्ञन मीठा लगाए सारथी भय प्रभु रट लई माँ की गीत सुनाओ ने तिमी कहाँ छो कृष्ण मुरारी सुदर्शनधारी मुरली बजाओ ने तिमी कहाँ छो मुरली बजाओ ने तिमी कहाँ छो. Ah, Krishna, your Leela is so mesmerizing that if we don't understand it, but all that we can do is to surrender to you. Clear our paths. Let your little feet be in front of us, oh baby Krishna, and clear the paths. Whether you have a big form or a baby form or no form, you are the same. And oh, your childhood friend, we are your friends too, Krishna. We're coming to you now, not like Sudama, you give him a palace when he returned. After you receive him with such love, and the little food that he offered to you, that parched rice, you took it. Accept our offerings too every time we make. Accept the greatest offering, our mind today, Krishna, and give us in turn that peace, that moksha and liberation. And oh Krishna, you give us that Mahabharat. Oh, what a beauty, what a great gift you have given to mankind. Today, let us all pray that, oh Lord, help us to rediscover that we are just like you. Let us break the bonds of this mind, this intellect, and its ego, and let us rediscover. After we clear those impediments, we will rediscover that we are just like you. Devotees, I hope you're enjoying today. I'm enjoying it. I can't tell you how I'm bubbling, just like that Shiva Lingam, bubbling with happiness and a sense of bliss, because I have a guru, Swami Parameshananda ji. He's looking after me. He plucked me out of this mundane life. He's sustaining it. By what? By letting me serve and be an instrument in his hands. Would you want to do that too? Let's make a move. Let us give up this disgusting life of just seeking pleasure and accumulating wealth. Let us seek the greatest pleasure, self-realization and universal emancipation. Hari Om, Shanti, Shanti, Hari Om. Shout out to all devotees in Trinidad. I see Chandani Sakar there, ardent devotees, and Chandana Mandalji. Nice to have you all here, and Nepal's devotees from Nepal and Guyana and Trinidad and Fiji and London. You're all listening and to the great works of the Lord. Hari Om, Shanti, Shanti, Hari Om.